Well, thank you for your attention. It's always a privilege and a pleasure to present in my hometown. If there's one thing you take away from today's talk is a brand new virgin discovery called Tangoa West. So let's get to it. Standard disclaimer. So I think the thing I look for is, having worked as a silver geologist for the first time in 2004 in Mexico on the Palmarejo project, you need a minimum 100 grams per tonne, generally, depending on geometry grade, to go through to the reserve or attract the attention of the silver addicts, such as Coeur d'Alene in Chicago. You can see there the intercepts, and I will read them out because they're the best intercepts I've seen in my 30-year geological career. Precious and base metals career anyway, in terms of actual value in ground potentially. 116 metres at over 1,000 silver equivalent, that's lead zinc, we haven't added up the periodic table. And 221 metres we announced recently at 569 silver equivalent. So these are continuous, thick and high grade intercepts, which are the two things you need to de-risk a project. The board, you'll be able to meet the other two executive directors who are here at the booth. Andrew Van Heist, who's what every chairman should be, has the ability to raise money for the company, importantly, apart from other comments. Ted, who is the father of this company, if you like, spent years in the field in New South Wales, scouring for A, projects, but B, projects that would be commercial. Keith Mays, geophysical expert in Western Australia, sadly not with us, but has had a major impact on the company's fortunes, you'll see in a minute. Myself, we'll take that as read. And Mitch Tarrant, who importantly is a project manager, but also plans all the drilling. And so we're very blessed with the current team, in my view. The standard corporate slide, I think the thing to take away from this is not the recent spike in price. That's normal when you make a discovery. And that'll continue happening as we zoom out with longer periods of time. You'll basically see a ratcheting upwards, as we saw in the past with Bolnisi on silver assets. But the top four there are present. The other two investors, I won't embarrass naming them, but they're here with us as well. So there's long-term investment and the stock is tightly held. What I like to see in a junior is an attempt anyway at dominance, and what Ted has done is picked a belt where others weren't looking so much in the New England Fold Belt. You can see the relative paucity of drilling. That's because of the historic bias in both Broken Hill and the belt in the Lachlan Belt due to the Cadia discoveries. But now, in my view, we're going to see more and more attention. We already are with competitors in the New England Fold Belt. So I think the one thing to take away from this slide, and of course, is the mandatory project slide showing all the assets we have. We are going to focus on Webb Silver in the north, near the town of Glen Innes, where I was recently in the field for a few weeks. But the other thing to take away, we focus on drill results. So we know that's what drives value in companies. So we have been drilling at 3 projects. One of them, like any healthy internal competition, is doing very well at Webb's. Uralla, we've had some moderate success on large tonnage. I like these intrusive related gold connotations, but I also think there's a Carlin connotation at Uralla. And Trough Gully, which is contact-related copper, potentially VMS, which we know is usually moderate tonnage, high-grade systems. So a lot of internal competition, but at the moment, Webb's is winning, mainly because both the widths and the grades are, in my view, the best I've seen I know I'm biased, but the best I've seen in Australia this year in terms of metal. We used a low science technique of getting as close as possible to the workings or outcrops and drilling them. As I said to Ted when I started with the company, you want to drill everything to start with point blank and then step back from the known to the unknown and use as much of the old information as we can, but don't do a PhD on it. Just let's drill the competitive high-grade targets to start with and get into it. So straight away, Ted and the team had success at Webb's. As you can see there, we are using some technology, including recently Lupe Geophysics, where I was actually involved. And also in the audience is Harley Snowball of GeoCube, who helped us with that. So one thing to take away from this reasonably busy slide, but it is a bit technical, is the feature on the left is a geophysical response to what is the metal driver, the intrusive, called a leucogranite, and we've basically only worked on the western margin. That was because of logistics. We needed to peg the eastern margin. So what that goes to is being able to repeat the Tangoa West discovery. I think in all probability, you don't want to predict exploration future, but it's the same setting, and we're already seeing a positive response from geochem and sampling. So in my view, Tangoa West, which is at the bottom of that left image, it will be repeated over and over, as it already has been on the north and western boundaries. So no need to pick up more tenements or projects, in my view, for a long time. There's competitors to the north moving in, as you see on the slide, such as FMG, and because it's a metalliferous belt that's, I think, attracting more and more attention because of these grade and thickness responses. Now, I won't I won't read all these grades out, but again, anything above 1,000's very important when it comes to silver equivalents. It's transported by the lead and the zinc, and most metallurgists in the room will know that means it should treat well, should float well. Test work that Ted's completed at preliminary stage, or the company's completed, has shown excellent recoveries, which we apply to our silver equivalent calculations, as is the JORC requirement. The main thing is here, though, you don't see any intercepts, the left there, under 20 grams silver, which is a sort of global lower cut for reporting any silver numbers, and a lot of silver numbers well over 100. So in my view, there needs to be a full-on resource drill out soon, but we're still finding more Tangoa West, so we're not quite at that point. This is what I like to see in any resource estimate, or pre-estimate in this case, is continuity and grade. Everyone can report high grades. Probably every talk today had some high grades of the various commodities elements, but if you don't have continuity, then it'll be a short scoping study. The other thing that mining engineers like is vertical features to mine, because gravity assists the mining, and as we see at North Parks, which has been an excellent example, and Allura, where importantly Ted Leschio, MD, worked underground in another pipe type system. These are very commercial sort of outcomes when it comes to dilution and mining. And again, some more geological work, but this goes to the new targets to the east that I referred to earlier. And I don't want to dwell too much because we time constraints. But the main thing is, again, grade. Yes, we're using high-tech geophysics, but it's just basic field work. Mitch Tarrant in the field has logged every square metre, in my view. And keeping on with the theme, as the earlier presentation on the solar power was very instructive. And silver, for example, without reading you all on this, there'll be a test later at the booth. Come and see us. But silver's used in solar panels as well, so nominally it's a critical element as well. And obviously zinc and lead are. All right, so I thank you. And there's just as a takeaway point, the drillers are also here. They've done a great job. Leonard Drilling, based out of Gympie, where I first met the guys 20 years ago. And we've been drilling continuously since the company floated last year. Thank you for your attention.